look, cows. Very exciting. And over there is a Yeti. But we're not here to talk about cows or Yetis. We're here to demonstrate the majesty and the brilliance of the Citroen Berlingo. But not just any Berlingo, the Berlingo XL, because that's the big mother. That's the mothership. That's the grand fromage of Berlingo world. And to demonstrate the practicality and brilliance of an MPV over a crossover, we're going to be using some terrible football analogy. So, Clive, at the end of the day, football is taking place in the back of this Berlingo right now. This is a 7-seat Berlingo, this with a massive boot. Now, people say that it's got 400 litres of boot space, but how many people actually work in litres? You don't walk into a supermarket and fill up with 400 litres of shopping. You don't go to a sports match and fill up with 400 litres of sports equipment. No, you deal with real world items. And the real world item that's taking place in the back of this Berlingo today, Clive, is an actual football match. And not just any football match, a match between two giants of the world game. We're looking at Brentford versus Argentina in the Subbuteo Cup, and they're playing for the famous Jules Rimet trophy, sat there in the cup holder, once again demonstrating the brilliance of the Berlingo. If you look at the score is 7-0, which is significant because that's how many seats this car's got. At the moment we have the mighty Brentford taking a corner against what are beleaguered Argentinians after conceding 7 goals in quick succession. But as you can see from this live footage, there is enough room in the back of a Berlingo to host a live football match. Seriously, try doing that in a compact or even large crossover, because you just couldn't do it. Another bonus of owning a Berlingo and watching a live football match from the back of a Berlingo is the size of the tailgate. You just don't get tailgates that size on many crossovers. So it means that when you're enjoying a hot bovril or eating a terrible Cornish pasty, you can stand undercover in the rain, which never happens in England, while watching the live match. There is one thing to point out. Clearly this Berlingo is based on a van, but that gives you van-like dimensions. And the advantages of this tailgate is you have a kind of a Land Rover style split tailgate. So you can open the glass to provide a letterbox view of the game in progress. But also I would like to point out that Mars are indeed marvellous, and SO is indeed the sign of happy motoring. As you can see, the match is finished. Brentford did win in the end, 7-0 against Argentina. Great result. Jules Rimet is still gleaming, but the 2 back seats are now back in place. Now I've started, because doing this with one hand will be nigh impossible. I wouldn't say it's difficult. They are heavy to take out and put back in again. Awkward, I suppose, is more the word. But I have started. Basically, you clip them in there. And once they're in that, you clip them down into that. That locks them in place. And then same again on that one. So it's actually a really simple process to turn it back into a 7-seater. Although at the moment, it's clearly a 4-seater. So they're now back in place. And then to finish the process, you bang the camera on the way up and drop them in. Obviously now you're coming back from the football match and you're tired, you want to go to McDonald's probably, and you want to make sure there's enough room for all 7 of you to go back from the game. Now in many crossovers of this size, or many SUVs, 7-seat SUVs, the back seats are quite cramped. Not so in the Berlingo. As you can see, our footballer friends have got lots of room. They're not suffering from headroom problems, leg room problems, knee room problems. Basically, they've got room. Plenty of room to stretch their legs there. It's a similar story in the middle row, where all 3 of our tired little footballers, representing different nations of the world, have got plenty of room to stretch out. And if they wanted to, they could even sit in a car seat, because there's 3 isofix points along the back row. Similar story in the front, where the driver playing for Germany, or that'd be West Germany, has got plenty of room, and his little guy there is stretched out on the other seat. So yeah, plenty of head, leg, knee, elbow, any room you could ever want. However, there is one disadvantage. One thing any family car worth its salt needs a couple of trays, but I'm afraid it's a bad mark for Citroen. Take a star off the star rating because clearly our footballer friends aren't going to be able to reach those trays. I think another thing that's worth pointing out, that if Carlos Valderrama and Marge Simpson are on their way back from the football match, they won't have to adjust their hair because there is stacks of headroom in this car. So yeah, even the Pope would find this car adequate for his needs. We're reaching the end of our football-related Berlingo review. You'll be pleased to know. But I would like to point out the cup holders because they're very important on a practical car. One up there. One up there for your Jules Rimet trophy. Plenty of room for a bottle of water in now, I'd say. And obviously the trays have got cup holders in the back. And there are the cup holders on the back shelves for when you're travelling with 2 extra footballers in the back. And there's even a handy little ball holder for your footballs right in the front. I think those things are the underrated gems of the MPV world. It's one thing the crossover can never top an MPV4. Sliding jaws. It's fantastic. So good if you're in a tight space, and it makes getting through and out. You could play frisbee through here. You could play football through there. You could put those seats down and you could try and get football through the goal. You could play tennis through this. And also, if you wanted to, you can walk through without any problems. And it's like walking through Narnia. You come out the other side and you're in Frost heaven. That's Jack Frost, not David. And the other thing to bear in mind is you're not going to lose the Berlingo in a car park. Whereas most crossovers and SUVs kind of look the same. This one has a sort of look of its own. Yes, you can get a Peugeot and a Vauxhall version. But this is Petrol Blog, so we're all about the French. There's no doubt about it, it's a van. And it feels like a van on the road. But you get the same high driving position as you get in a crossover. You get more practicality than I think any crossover. And I think it looks cool. I think it has a certain coolness to it. What do you think? Let me know. But don't worry, we're not going down a new car route. We're getting back to the Safran and the Camry in due course. But we just thought we'd try something different. Show you something that possibly could be a hero of Petrol Blog in 10, 15, 20 years' time. As always, thanks for watching and all that jazz. And